Hi there, me again. This is the fourth part proper of my video blog about Song of Ice and Fire. Last time I said I might do something on various prophecies within the books, but I've decided, having read some posts on various blogs recently, that there's something I want to talk about first that I think is much more important. I first read A Game of Thrones, I guess just over a year ago now, so I'm not in the unfortunate position of having been waiting for the next book, A Dance with Dragons, for I think it's 3 years, and I know a lot of people have, and I know a lot of people are starting to get very, very frustrated. And a number of the posts I've been reading, particularly recently, but certainly when there was no suspected date, GRM said that he thinks it should be done by autumn. Probably he's looking at I think it's a June or July finishing date, and then it's obviously got to go off the editors. But I'm getting slightly disturbed by some of the things I'm reading, and I've been getting more disturbed over the time that I've been reading and writing various internet posts about the series. And there seems to be an awful lot of people who are rather overly concerned with George's mortality, which is slightly unnerving. It was particularly bad at the point dear Robert Jordan passed away, which was understandable because that was very sad. But I think I'm finding it slightly disturbing that people who are very clearly fans of the series, if not of all of George's work, are talking about him like he's about to die. Now, as far as I'm aware, George is fit and well, and will be for a long time, and I wish him long life and happiness. And I'm getting slightly annoyed by the number of people who seem to be suggesting he's about to drop down dead. I don't think that's very nice. And that even those people who aren't worried about his mortality are saying various disparaging things about his delivery of A Dance with Dragons, or up till now the absence thereof. And I guess what I want to say is that writing takes time. It's not like a manufacturing of an item for which there is a set routine, where if you put the same components into a machine 50 times, you'll get 50 identical objects at the end. It's not like that. It's a creative process. And there is no set way to do it. George will know what his best way of working is, and he will do that, and he will finish when it is finished, when it is ready. And while I'm desperate for the next book to come out, I'm really looking forward to it. I want to know what's happening at the Wall. I want to know what's happening with Tyrion. I want to know what's happening with Daenerys. But I can wait until it's done. I'm not that desperate that I can't wait a few days, or a few months, or a few years if that's how long it takes. And that I can accept it will be done when it's done. The other thing which has annoyed me is people criticising him for doing other things. Now, writers don't just write. They do the same things that the rest of us do. When they're not working, they eat, they sleep, they talk to their friends and their husbands and their wives, and they watch football. In George's case, American. In my case, English, or association, as it's probably called. And I think it's slightly odd to criticise someone for spending 20 minutes doing a blog when, as far as we know, they could be writing for 12 hours solid a day. I also think it's slightly bizarre to say, why is he doing other things? Well, for all we know, he may be contractually obliged to do other things. It may be a commitment he's made to his publisher, or to someone he's known for a very long time. He promised he would deliver this, so he's doing something else. Also, when you are a fairly successful person in a field which has a fan base, fantasy writing being one of the most obvious ones, it's quite natural you're going to get invited to conventions. Now, I can honestly say I've never been to a fantasy convention, I probably never will, but I can understand why some people do go to them, and I can see why authors want to go to them and meet the people who read their work. So I'm not going to criticise him for doing that, and I think it's slightly odd that people think it's wrong that he should do things that aren't writing, and more to the point, aren't writing A Song of Ice and Fire. And finally, the delay has taken 3 years, presumably because it's difficult. It's, if you to use a musical analogy, it's not writing a 3-minute single. It's writing a 5-hour opera with 8 or 10 solo parts, with a full orchestra, and it's the 5th part of a very long cycle of books, all of which have a lot of interwoven detail that you have to make sure has continuity, because there are enough serious fans of A Song of Ice and Fire that the smallest continuity gaffe is going to get pasted all over the web. And George is too thorough to make that kind of mistake, or at least to do it without it simply being so small and such an oversight that it's not particularly important. And if you look at the level of complexity in A Song of Ice and Fire, it's incredible. Of course it's going to take him a long time to get everything right. And he's been working on this for a very long time. It's his, for want of a better phrase, it's his magnum opus. And if he wants his magnum opus to be good, it may take that extra bit of time. He's not going to release something that's substandard. So although people might say I'm gushing and I'm hero worshipping, well, I can promise you I'm not, because I don't do that. Ask anyone who knows my musical taste. I think Metallica are the best band ever, and I thought St Anger was an absolute crock. So I'm not hero worshipping. I just think, let the man do his job, and we can assess it when it's done. And be nice to each other, because we're all fans. We all want the same thing, and we don't get anywhere by being nasty. So thank you for watching, and if you want me to, I will do one on the prophecies.